Welcome to the Ron Roberts Radio Show with Southeastern's head football coach, Ron Roberts, on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. It's your chance to hear directly from the head of Lion football. The Ron Roberts Radio Show is sponsored by LA's First Choice Auto Auction, Track, Topola, Bloomberg & Associates, Mealy Printing, and the Crescent Bar. Now, live from Topola in downtown Hammond, here's Alan Waddell.
It's hard to believe that the 2017 football season has come and gone, but boy, did it end with a bang. Our Southeastern Lions knocked off Nicholls State in dramatic fashion to claim the Riverboat Classic for the sixth time in the last 7 years. Trailing 17-7 in the third quarter, the Lions scored 14 unanswered to knock off the Colonels 21-17, ending the season on a high note. I thought this game showed a couple of things. First of all, the Lions seniors played outstanding for the final time in Strawberry Stadium, led by Sione Tehema, Max Lyons, Jake Giannone, and Maori Ellison. But also we saw the future of the program with electric runs by youngsters Marcus Cooper and Juwan Petit-Frere. Good evening, Lion fans. I'm Alan Waddell, and I want to welcome you to the Ron Roberts Radio Show live from our home, Topla Catering, right here at 113 East Thomas Street in downtown Hammond. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be with you till 8 o'clock as this is the finale here in 2017. Over the next hour, we'll get Coach Roberts' thoughts on the game against the Colonels, and also recruiting coordinator Brandon Lacey is here, and we'll hear the needs and the plans for Southeastern recruiting this offseason. Let's take a time out. When we return, I'll be joined by the head coach of your Southeastern Lions, Ron Roberts. You're listening to the Ron Roberts Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
In Southeast Louisiana, one luxury automobile dealership stands apart from all the rest. Mercedes-Benz of New Orleans. It's more than just offering Mercedes-Benz vehicles, it's Star Service that prides itself on customer relationships.
From valet service and Mercedes-Benz loaner cars, our customers enjoy award-winning Star Service. Come see what Star Service is all about.
Visit Mercedes-Benz of New Orleans on Veterans in Metairie or at mbofno.com.
What does it mean to be Southland Strong?
It's not just big wins.
It's success in the classroom
and being engaged with service,
family, passion,
integrity,
overcoming adversity,
hard work and dedication,
bettering people around you,
striving for excellence,
leadership and competition
on our campuses
and in our communities.
We are Southland Strong.
All right, welcome back here to Topla Catering for the final time in 2017. This is the Ron Roberts Radio Show. Lions end their season on certainly a positive note as they knock off the Nicholls State Colonels 21-17 this past Thursday night in front of a capacity crowd at Strawberry Stadium. At this time, we're going to welcome to the show the head football coach of your Southeastern Lions, Coach Ron Roberts. Coach, thanks for being here. A great way to end the 2017 campaign. It was a very exciting game, and this has really turned into a great rivalry game with Nicholls. The last 3 years, it's come down to the final play.
Yeah, it really has turned out to be a great rivalry. It was a tremendous atmosphere Thursday night. It was awesome. It was a great night for college football, really.
Certainly was. As I know that the game didn't really start the way you wanted it to, as you trailed 14-7, got some things going. I mentioned it in the open. It was almost kind of a microcosm of the season. We had some injury at the quarterback position. We saw some seniors play outstanding. We saw some young guys make some big plays. A lot of positives certainly that came out of Thursday night.
Yeah, there were some big plays. Again, we probably saw some seniors have some of their best nights as a Lion. Comes to head, obviously Jake Giannone. Obviously only played well. Maori in the big pick late. You have Eugene coming off with some big runs there. You really saw, a couple of linemen up front. Again, I thought there's some seniors who played outstanding. That's how you want it. You want them to go out, especially with their best football of their career. And then obviously you saw the young guys come in there and were real productive there at the end of the ball game.
No doubt about that. Coach, obviously you always want to beat your rival, and especially when it's an in-state opponent. That's 5 out of 6 for you, 6 out of 7 for Southeastern out of the last 7 years. So certainly you've had the Colonel's number over the last few years, and I know they had a really good team this year. They're in the top 25. If you didn't see the selection show, they got into the FCS playoffs. I know a lot of people thought they would get left out after we knocked them off on Thursday night. But when you can take 5 out of 6 from these guys, Coach, it's a pretty strong statement of where you're at in the league.
Yeah, I think it really is obviously helping, in-state recruiting. It's great to beat your rival, just to have that, to have the River Bell. And, again, I'm proud of the way our guys came back, that last bowl game and just, found a way to get it done, and obviously in the fashion we did it in as well.
We talked about it going into last week. Certainly a lot to play for in last week's game. You had some seniors. It was senior night playing their final game in Strawberry Stadium. Also a chance to get above 500 and end the season. Certainly, when you look back, 6-5 sounds a lot better than 5-6 going into that last game, and so much momentum now going into the offseason. I know that's what, and then obviously the trophy that's right here behind us tonight, the River Bell Trophy. When it's a trophy game, it's certainly a lot on the line, and your kids played that way. Going into the game, some people might look at it and say, "Hey, Nichols has a lot more to play for than Southeastern in this game." I don't think it turned out that way.
No, again, there was plenty for us to play for. Obviously, being the in-state game, the rivalry game, that part of it. But there's a lot to play for, to get the winning record. There was a lot at stake. We thought we were a better team than the way we finished. There was a lot of bitterness on that part. Guys upset, disappointed the way it turned out. We had one more chance to play a ranked opponent in our house and to show what we were capable of doing and go out and playing well. And I think our guys did that.
If you take a look at some of the things that ended up here this year, Coach, you ended up 6-5, and maybe I know you never want to say this, as a coach and as a coaching staff, as players, as fans, but some little bit of what ifs. We played some really close games, and this one ends up 6-5. If you get 1 or 2 of those, you're probably still playing in the FCS playoffs. Try to do some, if you look back at it, our schedule ended up being really pretty tough. Now that it all played out, out of our 4 FCS losses, those teams had a combined record of 36-6. We lost to 2 teams that were 10-1, a 9-2 team, and then a 7-4 team. As Bethune-Cookman actually ended up 7-4, McNeese 9-2, UCA 10-1, and Sam Houston 10-1. So some good quality opponents on there, and certainly we're in all of those ball games. And those are the ones that if you get a couple of those, you're still playing. Yeah,
and that's what you got to do if you want to continue to play. You want to go to playoffs. You got to win those close ones, and that's always usually the difference. The difference is, the teams that get them are going to continue to play and go to the FCS playoffs, and those ones don't get to go home.
Ron, you ended up the year 3rd in the nation in rushing. So out of everybody in the country, 3rd in the nation in rushing the football. Certainly a nice statement for your club. And it was a little slow sledding to start this game against Nicholls State. Had some big runs in the second half that kind of put that average back up there. But all year you were able to run the football effectively.
Yeah, I think a lot of it goes, again, we felt coming in the season that we had one of the better offensive lines we've had in years. And we had a stable of backs, and luckily we did to get us through some injuries and things like that. But I thought our guys did that effectively, and looking forward to it. Again, a large portion of production is coming back, and so look forward to 2018.
You can't talk about the game last Thursday night without talking about Marcus Cooper. He was really the spark. I don't want to say he won the game, but he certainly put us in a position on a couple of long runs, especially in the first half when we were having a really tough time getting anything going. He had that long touchdown run to get us on the board, had another big run when we were down 17-7, ends the game with 12 carries for 142 yards and a touchdown, and he was named Southland Conference Offensive Player of the Week. The young freshman ends the season on a high note, getting that offensive Defensive Player of the Week. And there's no doubt he's going to be a special player here at Southeastern. He's electric when he gets the football in his hands.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's going to have a great career. I think, he finishes on about 650 yards for the year. Didn't play till game 3. Had a couple games there late that really didn't have any production. Really didn't have trouble getting the football. So I think again, obviously he's going to come back and be a marquee guy, and he's going to be a guy that obviously we're looking to get the ball in his hands because he can make some things happen.
He ended up the season, Marcus Cooper, 646 yards on 64 carries. He set a school record. Averaged 10.1 yards per carry on the season. I mean, that's pretty incredible for a true freshman right out of high school.
Yeah, it's awesome. It was a great year. It just means we didn't give him the ball enough.
Yeah, I know he didn't play a lot early, but certainly was a major factor down the stretch. I mentioned it earlier. He was a Southern Conference Offensive Player of the Week. We had in 2016 actually didn't have any Players of the Week all year, which is crazy in the Southern Conference. Offense, defense, or special team. This year we had 5 different players that won Player of the Week. Marcus Cooper, Austin Mitchell, Max Lyons won special teams, and also Juwan Petit-Frere won it twice as well earlier this year. Ron, let's talk about defensively a little bit. I thought that your team defensively got better as the year went on, certainly, and probably the best 2 defensive performances of the year were your last 2, against McNeese State and then this game against Nichols. I mean, you really frustrated those guys. I mean, Chase Forcade came into this game, had some good numbers, had a good year going. He was 9 of 21 for only 94 yards and 3 picks. I mean, y'all really did a nice job getting after the quarterback and disrupting what they wanted to do offensively, especially in the second half.
Yeah, I thought our guys did get better. I thought, that we continued to improve every week, and that was a big part of it. Again, that's what you want to be able to do. And, it's nice to see those guys out. We had some good group of seniors on that side, too, so you expect those things to go out and play their best football, especially at the end of the year. And I thought they did, and I thought our secondary did a nice job there, mixing the coverage up and did a great job of playing them.
Yeah, held Nichols to only 49 snaps in this game. 70 snaps for 323 yards. So did a good job defensively. Also 4 of 15 on third down. So the Lions really forced Nichols to struggle offensively in this game. There's no doubt about it. Lions won at 21-17. End up the season 6-5, 6-3 in the Southland Conference. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to walk through this game and break it down for you, and then we'll get Coach's thoughts on the offseason, recruiting. We've got a lot coming up here all the way until 8 o'clock on the Ron Roberts Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Renday's Quick Stop is a proud supporter of Southeastern Athletics. Located at 306 West University Avenue in Hammond, right across the street from campus. Renday's is conveniently open 24/7 and serves hot Greek and Lebanese food. They also have great snacks for those late-night study sessions. They have friendly service and a wide assortment of wine and beer for all your needs. Stop by today and line up.
Mealy Printing of Covington is a proud sponsor of Southeastern football. Mealy Printing is one of the largest commercial printing companies in the New Orleans, Baton Rouge metro areas. Currently celebrating 30 years of service to their customers and community, Mealy Printing offers both digital and offset printing. For more information on Mealy Printing, please visit mealyprinting.com or visit them at 619 North Tyler Street in Covington.
Remember, our philosophy is the answer is yes, so what's the questions? All right, Lion fans, let's line up.
All right, welcome back here for the final time in 2017. We're going to be with you for the Ron Roberts Radio Show talking Lion football. It's hard to believe that the 2017 season has come and gone, no doubt about it. Certainly some ups, a few downs in this season, but it's over. And if you look back at the season, a lot of positive moments, and certainly ending the season on a big win on Thursday night. It seems like forever ago now when when you play on Thursday. Now that we're doing the show on Monday, talking back about the game. But Coach, let's kind of talk about this game a little bit and walk through and talk about some of the key plays. And I think first of all, you mentioned it earlier. I thought this was one of our best home atmospheres we've had probably since 2013, 2014. It was an outstanding. I know that last week you mentioned that you and Coach Rebo had talked about, hey, we might want to put this game back on Saturday. Attendance has sometimes been hurt on Thursday, but I think it showed that when something big's on the line like this, that people will show up, the students would show up, and it was certainly a nice night for college football and a great atmosphere in Strawberry Stadium.
Yeah, it was. It was great. Again, that was something that we had actually talked about in the offseason, was that we're worried that this rivalry wasn't getting as much of attention as we thought it should get. With the just it is tough sometimes on a Thursday night with business people getting off work and families got to take kids to school the next day and things like that. We thought maybe some of those things were hurting attendance, but obviously it didn't hurt last Thursday night, which I think that maybe it just needs to be up here every year.
Yeah, maybe it just needs right here in Hammond, no doubt. Hey, I'll tell you one thing else it did as well is because we were really the only show in town. There's no high school games, nothing on Thursday night. We were the showcase game. I know a lot of the New Orleans media was there. Mm-hmm. A lot of this game got a lot of hits on Twitter, on Instagram, things like that. As certainly this was the featured game in the state of Louisiana on Thursday, and I thought that it got the type of recognition it deserved throughout the state.
Yeah, I think it was pretty awesome. I mean, really, the way everything turned out, just again the type of media that was there, and then the people in the stands, and it was a pretty awesome night for college football.
Ron, let's talk about the game and kind of walk through this thing a little bit. As this game offensively in the first half, especially, it really kind of felt like the McNeese game. It seems like we couldn't get out of our own way a little bit, couldn't get anything going offensively, and really it turned into a defensive struggle both ways. And we're sitting there after the first quarter talking about it on the radio, saying, hey, this has a feeling of that McNeese, a 13-3, a 7-3 type game, as both defenses were really playing well early.
Yeah, I mean, again, you go in a rivalry game, and they know everybody's, the kids are jacked, the kids are playing at a high level. I thought you really got it from both sides of the ball there. Everybody really did show up to play. And they've got a good defense, and they played exceptionally well. They haven't given up a lot of points all year long, so we knew that going in as well. We misfired on some execution there early. But I don't want to take it away from them, but we did. We misfired on some execution and on some plays that we thought we had, and really just struggled to get something going. Some of that kind of may have leaked over from McNeese, and also some things that slow offenses down. Also is when you're off. Sometimes when you're off, that timing stuff gets thrown off and takes a while to get back in it as well.
Well, that's actually something we didn't even bring up, was the fact that you did have the bye week in between this week. They were coming on a short week. You were coming off of a little longer break. So maybe did come out a little bit rusty there in the first half in this game. They go on top 7-0 early. We really were struggling moving the football. I know one of the big plays I thought of the first half was a pass interference they had on us that kept the drive alive on third down. And then the next play, Marcus Cooper goes for that long run, really tightrope the sideline. Take us through that play and that sequence as certainly an electric run by Marcus Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, they do. We get a pass interference call, keeps the drive alive, and then obviously Marcus is going to get out. And it's really one of those things where he gets on the perimeter, he makes it get one guy miss out on the line of scrimmage, and then really just tight ropes the sideline. And he's obviously got that burst and stuff, and just did a great job. I mean, from there on, probably about 5 yards on, it was on his own, and he just did a fabulous job.
I thought, he was a good matchup for them, especially I know they rely a lot on quickness and things to get into the backfield and disrupt, and he was able to make some guys miss. And I thought that was maybe one of the differences in why he had so much success is maybe if they were in the backfield or right there on the perimeter, he could make a miss at the initial point of contact and make big plays.
Yeah, and that's what he brings to the table. I mean, he can do that, and those guys are valuable. Guys that can do that and make people miss and take the ball, and make big plays out of it, explosive plays. And so, he's, like I said, for that reason, I mean, it's gonna be a pleasure to have him around. I'm glad he's a freshman. He's gonna have a bright career. Ron,
we actually go in the locker room trailing this game 14-7 at the half. against Nicholls State. They had some success in the first half running the football. That was really what they started doing, is they relied really heavily on the run game. I mentioned the numbers earlier. Chase Fourcade really struggled in this game, so they really leaned on the run game. I know they rushed for 400 yards the previous week against Stephen F. Austin. What were they doing, giving us some problems there, and especially the first half? That didn't continue in the second half, but in the first half they had some running success against our defense.
Yeah, well, he did. They were running some things they hadn't ran, and that's always the case. And how soon can you adjust? How soon can you figure out what they're doing? So they did. They obviously had some things designed up specifically for us, and again, it just took us a while to adjust and make sure we make the changes.
Ron, when you were going in the locker room, and I had a chance to interview you going into the break, you said, "Hey, we're getting whipped up front." Was that the message at the locker room that turned it around there in the second half?
Yeah, really, that's the thing. Really, we just talked about really like offensively at the half was that we're better than this. We're missing a block here, we're missing a read here, we're missing a running back not sticking in the right hole here, and it's just one piece after another. We're not. There's no continuity here putting this thing together. It's all 11 on the same page. So. We talked about that, and then defense, we just kind of challenged them. Same thing, we really felt at the point we were better than them, and we need to go, slam the door shut.
Ron, let's talk about Lorenzo Nunez for just a moment. He gets injured in this game. I know he had a lower leg injury, and if you go back all the way to the first game of the year against UL Lafayette and how well he played, and it's almost. I don't want to use the word. I don't want to say it's a shame, but it just wasn't. He wasn't the same guy. Down the stretch, I know that he was battling some injuries, shoulder, knee, ankle. Just didn't quite have the burst there, and I don't know if that was some of the things that was slowing us down a little bit offensively. I know when Byron Walker came in the football game, seemed to energize us a little bit offensively, especially there in the third quarter.
Well, again, yeah, he was, a little. He's been dinged up all year long. He wasn't 100%. I hate to say that it's on him. It's not. There was other mistakes out there and stuff. There was other things going on, but I think it was more of the time. I think if Lorenzo would have stayed in, I think we would have had the same success. But I am pleased with Byron what he did. He came in and obviously has success and gets the scores. So that's a big notch, I think, especially for a freshman in his cap. To win that game and come from behind to do it. Hopefully that will again springboard him for the rest of his career. That you can get this thing done.
And he was thrown into some pretty tough situations throughout the year. Had to have play a big series against McNeese State. Got thrown in late there against Sam Houston State when Lorenzo got dinged up. And certainly those moments probably prepared him for this moment. And I know you look back at it, you ended up pulled the red shirt off of Byron Walker, but he ended up getting a ton of playing time here in 2017.
Yeah, again, he did. And like I said, he's going to be a great player. We fully, we're very pleased that we signed him, that he's the guy. He's going to be a great player for us. So, just had to pull it and get in a little earlier than we anticipated. It's tough for a freshman to do those things, but he answered the bell. He answered the bell as well as any freshman can do.
In the second half, I thought a big sequence. Let's talk through the point where we dropped the snap on the punt. We drop the snap on the punt, have an error. They get the ball in a short field, and at that point, you almost feel like you're holding on because it's 14-7. They have the ball deep in our territory. And the way we were moving the ball offensively at that point in the game, you really felt like if they went up by 2 touchdowns, it was going to be tough. I thought it was really good by your defense to go out there and hold them to a field goal opportunity as they got deep inside the 10.
Yeah, I thought, again, that's probably maybe the biggest sequence of events, really, to get out of there with 3. To walk out of there with 3 was a huge plus for us. And it actually was really almost probably like a little bit of energy boost. They couldn't get it in. You got the field goal, but you couldn't get 7. And you got in that spot. Sometimes that's a boost for it's really a boost for the defense, mentality-wise.
Certainly was. As they go up 17-7, that's when Byron Walker comes in at quarterback after Lorenzo's injury. We have the big run by Marcus Cooper, gets it down inside the 20-yard line. You say, hey, we were at least going to be able to make it a one-possession game at this point. And then on a third down, a very nice play call and a nice throw and nice catch by Byron Walker to Branson Schwabel. Gets us on the board at 17-14.
Yeah, huge. Yeah, it was a nice throw, but it was an unbelievable catch. Over the shoulder, back to the end zone. It's contested. He's got people in his face, and Bill to stay in bounds and to keep possession of that football was a pretty big time catch.
Ryan, he's been a matchup problem all year. Seems like when we get down there on that goal line, if you throw it up to him, he just has size and big hands and able to go up and make plays, and he showed it right there on that play.
No doubt, that was a big time play, and again, hopefully we're going to see him for a couple more years, and we're going to be able to do a lot more of that.
as that made the score 17-14 at that point. Hold them defensively as really the whole second half. We stymie them defensively, get the ball back, and then another option play. Pitch to Juwan Petit-Frere, and he looked like a kickoff return there as he got in the open field and was able to take it to the house. And that's something we saw as the year went on. Early in the year, we saw him returning kicks, had so much success, ended up leading the Southland Conference in kick return average for the season. And the last few weeks got him more involved offensively, and we're able to see that here against Nichols. And when he gets in the open field, I mean, nobody's going to catch him.
Yeah, he's a sophomore, so we'll get 2 more years with him, and obviously that was our big talk about making sure in the spring we got to get him incorporated. I got to get him to come in early in spring and build fight and get a starting job because he's a dynamic football player, and we need to get him in situations where he can make plays for us all the time.
So the Lions at that point led 21-17. Down the stretch, though, Coach Nichols, they wouldn't go away. I mean, they kept coming. They kept coming. It seemed like he had opportunities, especially in the fourth quarter. Let's talk about the big interception by Sione, his first interception of his career.
Yeah.
As for a majority of his career, especially a year ago, we saw him really rushing the passer exclusively. This year, you did drop him back, play a little bit more in the middle of the field, and that showed some nice ball skills on that play. Talk us through that as he undercut that pass.
Yeah, we had a little blitz where he drops out, and he's a low hole. He's a robber player, and the quarterback did a great job actually of reading the quarterback and his intentions, and steps in front of it, makes a huge pick because at the time that was that's pretty big because not only the turnover but it flopped the field because they're sitting the ball around midfield and he gets the ball down. I don't want to say inside the 35.
Right.
So a pretty huge turn of events. Great play by him. Great read. Nice job of stepping in front of that pass and intercepting it.
I saw today as well. Sione is up for. I wanted to mention this, that he is a finalist for the Buchanan Award, which is the best defensive player in FCS football. That'd be certainly big if he could win that award. Ended up the season with 80 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, and 9 sacks on the season. Then you add in an interception as well, as Sione was named to the Buck Buchanan Award finalists. I think they're down to, 5? Is that what they're down to now?
I don't actually.
I think they're down to 5, so he's on that list for 2017. I want to talk about Maori Ellison's big interception as well at the end. I thought that was a big-time play. Yeah. I mean, it was not a poor throw. I mean, he came around the receiver. Take us through that. I mean, that's special. That's big-time ball skills.
Yeah, that was. It really was. The guy just running a little dig route across the middle. Maori comes around, undercuts the route, and steps in front and really just takes it from him. I've been kind of ranting and raving about him. I think he's had a fabulous senior year. Really proud of the way he's progressed and how much he's grown as a football player and as a person, but as a football player. And then that play was that's the biggest one we've had probably in quite a while out there on the field. At
that point, they were in our territory. They had a little momentum going. Looked like they were going to, maybe take the lead on us. He makes the interception. I know you had to be a little disappointed. We weren't able to end the game offensively. Get a first down and just end the game. We ended up having to get the ball back to him, and it comes down to a Hail Mary. That's back-to-back years. It came down to that. And anytime that ball goes up, I know everybody's holding their breath a little bit.
Again, the easy route obviously is to get a first down and finish the thing. They stifled it. Give them credit. They did what they had to do. He saved his timeouts and was able to get the ball back and get one more shot at it.
And really on that last drive, it was all scrambles. I mean, no completions, just all scrambles. As he was able to get outside the pocket and get some first downs and put him in position.
Yeah. Again, a couple times he gets out, but that's him. I mean, we knew that. That's what he's capable of doing. He does a great job of extending plays, getting out. He did it several times throughout the night. He avoided some rushes and got outside. Avoided several sacks.
One thing that I thought was certainly interesting in this game is if you looked going into the game, Nichols had done a really good job here in this year of winning the close games. When they got in close games, they figured out ways to win them. They'd make plays at the end. Your defense just kept turning them away, intercepted him 3 times in the fourth quarter. I thought that was big. And certainly when you win a rivalry game like this and everyone runs on the field, and I mean that's what college football is all about.
No, that's what makes it exciting. That's what makes it special. I'm excited for our guys. I'm excited for our seniors especially to go out that way. It was a great environment, and it was a great win for our program.
I'm going to get your thoughts later on in the show about how the playoffs came out and how some teams in our conference are in, and get your comments on that. But I know at that moment Nichols, their fans, their players, they didn't think they were in the playoffs. I mean, they thought they were playing a playoff game that night, and it was over. I know there was a lot of tears down there on the field as I was walking around for the Colonels. But I'll tell you what, this was an exciting night for football. The Lions won it 21-17, and certainly, we all wanted to go to the playoffs. I know you did. I know your players did. I know the fans wanted to. But if we weren't going to go, this was probably the best way for it to end. It was a really nice night to be a Lion.
Yeah, it was. It was a good night, and yeah, I mean, I think really the way it finishes, I think really at 7-4 we'll probably get in, but didn't happen that way. So again, it was a heck of a way to finish the season in our house and versus them.
Ron, we're going to go to a commercial here in just a few minutes, and when we come back, Brian Lacey's going to come up. We're going to talk a little bit recruiting. He's your recruiting coordinator, as I know the season just ended, but already building towards 2018. Got to get some guys in here. There's some guys that, always think back to that scene on Friday Night Lights where right after the game they take the names out of the depth chart and they start moving on to the next year. And I know you just have to do it that way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I know there's some really good players that aren't going to play here for Southeastern anymore. And, yes, certainly you want to celebrate those guys and what they did. But now it's time to get ready for 2018. And I know that your staff has been working hard getting ready for this year's class.
Oh, yeah. And then, obviously, today and tomorrow, it's a big part of it is make sure we're getting organized for after Thanksgiving. So we're going to go on the road, obviously, and we got a couple of recruiting weekends there in December and trying to organize who's coming in and what order we want them coming in. And so there's going to be some exciting times here in the next couple of weeks just in recruiting.
All right, the Lions knock off Nicholls State 21-17. They win the Riverbell Classic for the 6th time in the last 7 years. Coach Roberts moves to 5-1 against the Colonels. He's also 15-3 against Nichols, Northwestern State, and McNeese State. So certainly has owned the state of Louisiana in his tenure here at Hammond. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to have recruiting coordinator Brandon Lacey on the program right here on the Ron Roberts Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
In Southeast Louisiana, one luxury automobile dealership stands apart from all the rest, Mercedes-Benz of New Orleans. It's more than just offering Mercedes-Benz vehicles, it's Star Service that prides itself on customer relationships.
From valet service and Mercedes-Benz loaner cars, our customers enjoy award-winning Star Service. Come see what Star Service is all about.
Visit Mercedes-Benz of New Orleans on Veterans in Metairie or at mbofno.com.
Mealy Printing of Covington is a proud sponsor of Southeastern football. Mealy Printing is one of the largest commercial printing companies in the New Orleans, Baton Rouge metro areas. Currently celebrating 30 years of service to their customers and community, Mealy Printing offers both digital and offset printing. For more information on Mealy Printing, please visit mealyprinting.com or visit them at 619 North Tyler Street in Covington.
Remember, our philosophy is the answer is yes. So what's the questions? All right, Lion fans, let's line up.
All right, welcome back. We have about 25 minutes to go here on our program. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Ron Roberts Radio Show for the final time here in 2017 as our Lions wrapped up their season this past week as they knocked off Nicholls State 21-17 to claim the Riverboat Classic for the sixth time in the last 7 years. Also moved Coach Roberts to 5-1 against Nicholls State in his tenure here at Southeastern Louisiana University. At this time, we're going to welcome to the show recruiting coordinator for your Southeastern Lions and also defensive line coach. Coach Brandon Lacey does a tremendous job for our program. And, Coach, thanks for spending some time with us here on this Monday night and kind of give us a little bit of the plan, as I know that season just ended, but now certainly looking to turn the page towards 2018.
Well, the plan basically is, you got to replace all the great players that you lose, and so we've obviously got a jump start on that. We have a couple high school kids that are committed, a couple within the state of Louisiana, and we're obviously going to do the best job we can within the local areas, being, St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, Washington Parish, Livingston Parish, all the way down into Baton Rouge and New Orleans in terms of trying to get the best recruitment talent that we can do. But right now, with that early signing period coming up, our focus is a little bit on the junior college guys, just because those guys they can give us some immediate impact, and great things, you get 15 practices with them in the spring if you get them in now. So we're looking to sign, a decent class here at the mid-year, and it's obviously, you think about it, the main position right now is DBs because we graduate so many of them.
Do you have a number? You're going to try to bring in here at the midseason?
That number can fluctuate from, you say, okay, it's not so much the number, it's the right guys.
Right.
Who is it? And you always got to take the right guys at that position. So, to say there's a number, there's not a mythical, magical number that we have to hit. It's, if it's, I like to say if it's 10, is it the 10 right guys? If it's the right 4, doesn't matter. If it's the right 4 that come in and make your program better, and that's what we're looking for more, is the quality over quantity. Who do we bring in? If we bring in a safety that can get it done, that can cover, and they can come down and tackle, well, then maybe you only need one of those. You don't need 3 to make up the one. Same thing at corner, same thing at whether it's D lineman, receiver, running back, whatever, offensive lineman. So,
Coach, I know when you look. Most people just think when you think about recruiting, especially in the offseason, most people just think of high school recruiting. And I know one thing that yourself, the whole staff has done a really good job of here at Southeastern is different levels of recruiting, whether it be the junior college player, the FBS transfer, the high school player. Is there a mix you're trying to be at? Is it just literally finding best guys that are available that's going to make your team better?
It's really about two parts on that. One, obviously, best guys that we need to fit our program, because sometimes there's guys out there that they're really good players at, whether it's high school, whether it's junior college, or whether it is a 4-year transfer. They could be, let's say he's a high school kid, he's an all-state kid, but he doesn't fit what we do. Then you can't fit, that square peg in a round hole. So, you got to take the guys that and I think we've done a good job here, along with Coach Roberts' direction, is getting those guys to be in that, fit what we need them to do. So there's not a set number of how many, like I said, junior college guys we have, but more along the lines of, does this guy fit? We'd like to say yes. You'd like to bring in some older guys at positions where you have less depth, because what do? They give you instantaneous depth. You'd like to bring in young guys so you can develop them. But then that's also why you recruit the young guys, is so when you do lose young men, that you can obviously replace them with those guys that have been in your system. So like I said, there's no magical number to it, but it does come down to a fit for what we need.
Certainly a lot of impact freshmen in this year's and last year's signing class. Obviously, we just talked about Marcus Cooper. We talked about Byron Walker, some guys that were freshmen. You look at Branson Schwabel, who's now a second-year guy. So certainly added some the last couple of years, some young guys. I think that sometimes it gets lost a little bit. I think people look at our roster sometimes and say, hey, they have some transfer players. But, we have a lot of young players as well that are being recruited and grown through the system as well here at Southeastern. Coach, give us some areas of need. Obviously, I know on defense we're losing some linebackers, we're losing some DBs, but give us some areas of need across the board.
Definitely DBs. We graduated 6 DBs in the back end, so that would be a major point of emphasis. Obviously, when you talk about losing 3 starters at linebacker, we do have a lot of guys coming back that have been in the program that will have their opportunities. But at the same time, our most productive position last year, probably of our whole defense, was our defensive line group with Jake Giannone, Sione Tahoma, and Lee Spite. Those are 3 pretty good players that played a lot of snaps for us. So you got to replace those guys. I look at it as significant as replacing the year we had Isaiah Corbett, Drew Maceda, Caleb Muse, Justin Church, all those guys that were in that class. We got to go now replace them and get these next guys ready to go. So those would be the needs on defense. And then always, we're always looking for that standout corner that can, play man and play on special teams and tackle. And then if there's any gorilla D linemen that are out there that want to come Southeastern, we like them too. We're not passing those guys up either. So, but on the offensive side, you got to replace some of the interior parts of our offensive line. The great thing is we've had a lot of depth there. We played a lot of young guys there, so it's not so much. You probably don't say that's an immediate plug because we did play 2 true freshmen in there, and we got a chance to get those guys to grow, and we can move some guys around. At the running back spot, you always want to have a stable, and you see how important that is with the guys we had this year. We lose our best receiver in terms of Jawan Dickey, in terms of receptions and what he brought to the game. You got to go replace that. And then, you always talk about, how can you get better? How can we make can we make our quarterback position more competitive with the 2 guys we have right now in Byron and Zoe? How do we beef that up? How do we make that room a little bit better? And if there's a guy out there that does it, great. But sound like we're not comfortable with the guys we have. So, it's kind of a picking tree of what we need. But I'd say if you said major emphasis, definitely DBs and linebackers, to find a number 1 guy at receiver or develop a number 1 guy in the spring. If there's somebody we don't just fall in love with, then we have the pieces to do it.
We're talking with Coach Lacey, recruiting coordinator here for Southeastern Louisiana University. As certainly the next few weeks will be big for recruiting as National Signing Day comes in February. You were telling me it's a little bit later. We'll get to that in just a moment here on our program. Let's talk about that right now. We'll get to that point in a second. I know you mentioned it just a few minutes ago that actually where the way the calendar falls, you're actually going to get an extra recruiting weekend. Explain that to our listeners.
So normally in December, there's about 2 weekends in recruiting. You get the first weekend in December and the second weekend in December, and that's usually what you have for junior college recruiting. Well, now there's a period of time where they have an early signing period where anybody that is eligible for the next year's signing class can sign on December the 20th at any point in time, whether they are high school or junior college. So with that, there's been an allotment of an extra week in December. So we'll actually get 3 weeks of recruiting versus 2, okay, which is good because now you have a chance to bring more guys in and evaluate, and you're not as rushed. But when we come back in January, it'll be the same thing. I believe the signing day is on February 7th, and now we normally get 3 weeks in January. We will have 4 weeks. So good thing is that we do get more time to evaluate kids, get more time to bring kids in, get more time to get to know kids. Bad thing for our wives is that we're on the road an extra 2 weeks. So
there's a few in the building, and I saw some eyes roll there on that on that one. Coach, do you have? I asked you earlier if you had a total number that you wanted to bring in at the mid-year. I know you said that it depends on what we who we find. But for the overall class, is there a total number that you can sign here in 2017, 2018?
Yeah, we're looking to get about 24 kids. That's what we're looking at. Right
Is that
now.
about average? I mean,
we try to push to 30. See, well, we wound up having a couple of kids that we blue shirted that we brought in after that came in right when camp started. So some of those scholarships get pushed forward, and that helps us because a lot of those guys were able to do some things and play for us this year, and that's a good thing. That means we got the right guys. Now, with those it's almost like getting a Christmas present early. Okay, you get it now, and then when it's Christmas, you don't get to open it, but it's there. So we have those guys already in place. And now we say, okay, now the rest of the sign class would be a 24-man class.
I want to ask you quickly before I get you off the air here. I know we've talked a lot about recruiting with you and obviously recruiting coordinator, but you're also a defensive line coach. Going into the year, I know that was one of maybe the question marks on the team. Defensively, you were going to play a lot of young guys up front. Talk about that group and how you felt like they progressed as the year went on, because all those guys are coming back next year.
Yeah, we played pretty much everybody that we had in the stable. So we went through it today. Guys got a lot of experience. Start with Carell Vongs. He was the oldest. He came back and he played almost 500 snaps all year, which is the most that kid's played in his whole college career to this point as a redshirt sophomore. Fred Brown, who's a true sophomore, wound up starting for us. So I think both those guys are young talents that are going to be really good players for us. In the last 2 or 3 games, they're playing 50 to 60 snaps because they're our best guys. Now it's cutting time, and we want them in the game, and they're holding their own against everybody, and they're young. So that's good. You throw a kid like Ron Cherry who came on late, John Miller who got dinged up but then was still able to come back and play in the last game. You still have Amadi Mitchell who's a junior, and then you get into that freshman class where we played. We played Tanano, and we played Filatoa, and then we played Noah Vance. I mean, those guys right there those are valuable snaps. Where each one of those kids got close to 100 snaps this year. And I like to say, the surprise was probably Noah Vance because he probably got in some of those big games against Sam and against McNeese as a true freshman, and he's holding his own. I mean, I think in both games, either he's lucky he's got a rabbit foot in his sock, or he's a pretty good player because he had 2 tackles for loss in both games. So that's not bad for a true freshman that's coming off the bench helping us. So really excited about them, proud of the way that they grew. Great thing is that, guess what, we only lose 2 possibly next year with John and Amani, and they will only be better. I think that this group, hopefully next year will take another step because they got 2, and then you take again. Okay, now we come back that next year. Now those guys are going to be even older and bigger, and we're going to see if we can add to them to make them better as well.
Coach Brandon Lacey, Coach, thanks for spending some time with us, catching us up on the recruiting process, and then also on your D-line. Thanks for spending some time with us.
I got to say one thing before I leave, because if I don't, I'll get in trouble. I would like to say hello to my wife, my 3 kids, Junior, Julius, and Trey. Go to bed. Mind your mom.
And I also said that right there on Facebook as well. So, all right, thanks, Brandon. Let's take a 2-minute timeout. We'll come back right here on the Ron Roberts Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Renday's Quick Stop is a proud supporter of Southeastern Athletics. Located at 306 West University Avenue in Hammond, right across the street from campus. Renday's is conveniently open 24/7 and serves hot Greek and Lebanese food. They also have great snacks for those late night study sessions. They have friendly service and a wide assortment of wine and beer for all your needs. Stop by today and line up.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
All right, welcome back to the Ron Roberts Radio Show. Our last segment here in 2017, as I'm sure our next radio broadcast will be at National Signing Day. We do that every year, and then getting you ready for the opener next year at Monroe, at ULM, at Monroe. As we're now going to welcome back to the show the head football coach of your Southeastern Lions, Coach Ron Roberts, for the final time here in 2017. And Ron, I got to ask you, we just talked to Coach Lacey. He did a great job explaining a lot of things. I've covered a lot of football. I've been around you now for 6 years. I've been doing this program for 10. What is a blue shirt? He used a different terminology there. I know red, I know gray.
Yeah.
What's this blue shirt he's talking about?
Okay, a blue shirt is you have a limit on how many guys you can sign every year. Okay, so if you wanted to sign, so let's just say I sign my class, but in July I find a kid that we really like. Okay. Well, what you can do is you can say I can bring you into fall. As long as I don't offer you a scholarship on paper, right? And I don't do anything in writing. I can tell you, hey, if you want you come in the fall, if you come to fall camp, I will have a scholarship for you. And that's really the.
So that's the blue shirt.
Because then that number pushes towards next year's. Yeah.
So it actually will count towards
next
2018.
Year.
Well.
Yeah.
No, whatever.
This would have been 17. Would be count towards 17, 18. So next year it would count. If we blue shirt kid this year, it would be count towards 2018, 2019 number. 2019, 2020.
Is everybody confused?
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, let's
push it a year ahead.
All right, great. I'm glad you got it figured out.
You're ahead.
Let's Coach. We've got a few minutes left here. As certainly, I had a lot of fun doing this with you again this year, and I know we just talked to Coach Lacey. Some areas of need. I know I just got him to talk about. I'll get you to address it. You know, what's your goals here for this offseason to get us back to? Hey, look, 7-4 a year ago, 6-5. We're a game away. You know, a couple back-to-back years of getting back in the playoffs. What are we missing? What's it going to take to get us back to the playoffs there in 2018?
Well, I think we've got the players. I think we've got the players really in stock. There's only a couple places that we have to rebuild. Most of our offense is back. They're back. We have a pretty good group of younger offensive linemen. We're going to lose obviously Dickey, Bethea, a couple offensive linemen. We're pretty strong up there though. Again, so a lot of them end up started. Guys replaced and started and stuff have been there. So we really feel we're in pretty good shape on the offensive side of the ball. The biggest ones we probably really have to do is obviously numbers wise, is we have to get some DBs in here. So that's going to be a big focus in this class. We'll sign anywhere probably 6 to 8 DBs in this class, and some of them are going to have to come in and play right away. So that's And besides, there's linebackers, but we've got 6 to 8 of them on our roster already. Some of them thrown into new roles and more obviously first time stepping up to the plate being the starter. But we got guys I think in a position to do that. So.
I know that one thing since you've been here, with Coach Lacey, with your staff, you've always seemed to find DBs. You've been able to find defensive backs, been able to find linebackers, and defensively, certainly, you got some key guys to replace here this off season. I want to ask you quickly. I know we have a couple of minutes left. I'd like to get your take on a couple of the things that's still going on this year. The FCS playoffs comes out.
Yep.
2 national seeds out of the Southland Conference. I think that's big for our league.
That's big. That's big for our league. That's pretty exciting right there. That both of them, UCA and Sam got national seeds. That's pretty huge.
I want you to comment. I know a lot of people, were a little surprised that I've been asked a lot that Nichols got in. McNeese did not. McNeese goes 9-2. Nichols goes 8-3, but Nichols did beat McNeese head up.
Right.
First of all, are you surprised that Nichols goes over McNeese? Are you surprised that all four are in the playoffs?
I'm surprised that all 4 are in the playoffs. Yeah. I just really, I don't, you go 9-2, McNeese, and to not get in the playoffs, and I know they can say one of them was D2, one of them was a D2 win. Okay, great. Well, it's still, they go 8-2. They're 8-2, and you're not going 8 wins, and you're not getting the playoffs. That's, I don't know, it's pretty tough to say. So I really thought there was a chance that we'd get a chance to get 4 in, I really am surprised, really, that Nichols jumped McNeese.
Well, I'm glad that, the last few years since they've expanded the league, we've only been getting 2. So to go back up to 3 is certainly a step in the positive direction.
Yep.
Try to get – we want as many teams in as possible, no doubt. And I've made this comment on social media and things, and I think since the league has expanded, we've brought in some of those programs that are newer, that are just moving up, or moving up from D2 or startup programs. It's hurt the perception of the league. But I really believe, you take our top 5 teams, you take everybody else's top 5 teams, and let's go battle together. I think we're playing as good a football as anybody in the country.
I agree with that. And, again, I think those other programs, you're talking about the new ones coming through, I think they made some incredible improvements. I think they made some drastic improvements in a hurry. I think I think top to bottom our conference is in solid ground. I really do that. I think, and as we play more out of conference games and those matchups, and things like that. And or I hope, again, when those guys get in and have some success and get past round 1, 2, and continue to play, that's going to add reputation. That'll add to our reputation. It'll add for the opportunity for 3 or possibly 4 to get in.
Yeah, so certainly you want to root for those Southland teams to make a nice deep run into the playoffs. Nichols are going to be at home this week, and that is another good thing. All 3 teams are hosting, so Nichols will be at home this week, and then UCA and Sam the following week because they both are on byes. Nichols plays South Dakota this week and out of the Missouri Valley, so that's a nice matchup. Cross conferences, an opportunity for the Southland Conference to get a big win. Ron, we just have a few minutes to go here on our show. We've done this now. What is this, 12, 13 weeks in a row, going through the season. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this with you. I had a lot of fun doing it as we do. I've done it with you the last 6 years now. But I guess, let's kind of wrap it up here. Kind of your final thoughts on the season as 2017 now behind us. You finish off with a big win against the Nicholls State Colonels. You get the River Bell Classic. You 5-1 against those guys. I mentioned earlier 15-3 against McNeese. Nichols and Northwestern State have really done a nice job against the state of Louisiana, especially in the FCS department. And now you head towards 2018 and an opportunity to get this thing back in the playoffs where I know you want to be.
Yep. First, before we do that, I don't know if everybody in here knows that Lindsey Kramer got engaged last week. So she was engaged to be married. So, there you go.
Put her on the spot.
That's right. Put her on the spot. Well, if he was here, that would really put him on the spot. If I made him stand up and get them all together. No, 17 didn't go the way we had planned. I think we have a playoff caliber football team. I think we've shown that we have the ability to play against those, against those top-ranked teams. We're just missing some plays. Some of that goes with experience. Some of it goes with maybe you never know. You add a player or two here or there. But I think it's more so again us being a little more consistent across the board on offense, defense, special teams. I think the plays were out there to be made. So I think we're right there. We just got to reload the guns and come out firing. And I'm looking forward to 2018. I think we got a chance to have a really good football team in 18.
Looking forward to it. And Ron, I know, you look out here. I know we want to thank everybody. We have a lot of people that come every week and spend their money with us and support Southeastern. I know we want to say thank you to y'all for coming every week and being a part, because I know there's a lot of people that tune in, because I get a lot of messages and things through social media that let us know that they listen on Monday nights, that this is an important part of their week. They like to listen on what's going on. A lot of guys that go on behind the scenes. Colton Vickers has been here every week as he's putting the program on Facebook this year. That was a new nice addition here for our show. Also, Dustin Arroyo, thank you so much from KSOU coming over here. Richie Clark's always here, making sure we're on the air with the North Shore Broadcasting, Cajun Highway, and WFPR. So a lot of people, and obviously Topoli Catering. We were back here in 2017. Yeah. I know a lot of people like it. They do a nice job here as they open up the lunch menu on Monday night, and it was a fun year.
You're missing Junior and the cake. You got to thank Junior for the cake.
So is that
and
13 pieces of cake and ice cream?
No.
For the year?
Yeah, I guess so. Something
13.
Like that. That's a lot. So that's where this weight came from. Yeah.
We had the birthday hat show.
Yeah, we did. We had
the birthday hat show. So a lot of things that went on here on our show. We also want to thank people that send in questions every week. As I didn't do any of this, we didn't really have a lot of time, but we always had our Ask the Coach segment every week that would be a part of that, and we're looking forward to it. I know you got spring price. You have dates on that yet?
Not off
it's in March. Put her on the spot. I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah, it's in March. I do have dates. I think it's the March 8th. I believe is when we start.
And we do know in 2018 right now our non-conference. I don't think the conference schedule's set yet. It might be, but I don't.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Okay, but I know that our first 2 games we're going to play at ULM and at LSU, the first 2 games of the season. So 2 FBS opponents to start out 2018. Certainly a tough task for your club.
Yeah, it'll be a challenge. So again, hopefully that allows also for inspiring spring practice, a motivated fall camp, and then we'll go game 3 will be UCA here at our place. So basically, we're playing the same conference schedule, just flopped.
Oh, it is? Yeah, it is the same conference?
Yeah,
okay.
The same conference schedule, so it just flopped. So we'll put
and then the bye week is still week 10, like it was this year?
Bye week is still week 10.
Yep. So UCA will be – so our home opener next year will be against the defending conference champs right here at Strawberry Stadium. It'll be an exciting time. Well, Coach, thanks again. Had a lot of fun doing this every week. And I'm see you at spring practice. We'll see you at National Signing Day, and we'll get you ready for ULM there in 2018. I can't believe that we're already at 2018. That's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. That's going to do it for here in 2017. For Coach Ron Roberts, I'm Alan Waddell. We'll see you next year. Line up, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.